Well, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, you all, and welcome back. It is time for the final round of the season. Round 10, we're in Sao Paulo, Brazil at Interlagos, and we're here for Division R. Brazil has now hosted the FRS season finale in 4 of the 6 seasons, and here is the classic circuit. 4.3 kilometers around, just 15 corners, and 2 DRS zones to aid in the overtaking around here, one into turn 1, the other into turn 4, which unsurprisingly make up your best overtaking opportunities of the circuit. It's the shortest lap on the season 6 calendar by distance and just a little bit longer on time than Austria, which is the other track that we visit. It is rather short. Now, of course, turn 1, the Senna S's, is going to be your best first overtaking opportunity. The switchback left, right, left, down the hill is where you can really get some side-by-side moves done. But it does lead straight into the second DRS zone and Descida do Lago, turn 4, which will then be kind of your final overtaking opportunity before you head down into the middle sector where it is rather follow the leader. So, tire compound, soft, medium, and hard as usual. The medium is being about 0.6 of a second slower per lap. The hard's 1.1 seconds slower per lap. Now in this 36-lap race, the hards will do about 28 laps. The medium's 22. The softs, nope, that is incorrect. That stuff has not been updated. Interesting. I'll have to double check that because I think it's 14, 28, and 34 is the correct number for those. So the hards can do a considerable amount of time, and we will see how that goes. But let's jump on over into the qualifying session once OBS wakes its brain up and sees that the game is indeed active. There we go. We'll take a look and see Elliott, as usual, one of the first around the circuit to set a valid flying lap. We'll jump on board with the Williams car, not in his usual Alpine that he says gives him 0.5 of a second per lap, but down into Descida do Lago turn 4 there. Now we head up into the middle sector. Look for that inside right curb. Try and keep it to the right. So easy to wash out wide as you come up the hill, and then the back end gets very light. Now into these kind of hairpin switchbacks as we work through the middle sector, the inter of the Interlagos, the between part. And it's just all about avoiding the bumpy sections and then down on the throttle here. High speed right-hander, keeping the back end in check, going to be very important in the race. And then into Junção, the last real corner on the track, because you do have a couple of sort of turns, but they're flat out, and you really carry the speed into final corner. And then once the DRS opens up, hugging the inside line, trying to make it the distance as short as possible to cross the line. Sets the provisional first lap time of the day. We will grab Mako next on PlayStation. Be our first PlayStation player across the line, has 2 personal best sectors, unsurprisingly. And it looks like just about running down the battery, and does go provisional pole this time. 108.1 next across the line. Zados 108.7. Then we have the Ferrari of LC Fighter, also says Samster Bamster, and 2 Xbox players putting it right on the top 2 spots so far. Frazier next across the line, setting purple middle sector, and goes fastest. 7.7 is that next time. We'll grab hold of Rireen and PlayStation. So consoles putting up a pretty good showing to start this qualifying session here, as after Frazier, you've got Xbox, PlayStation, and that makes up the other remaining console players. I believe Dr. Shizu going to be next across the line. He's going to put up a P7, a 108.5 that time around. Nordy next across the line in the Alpine goes 7th overall, 108.4. We have Luke in his usual Red Bull seat, an unrepresentative lap time for the Red Bull driver. Stark, who is notorious for his low wings, should be a menace on the straights, but is going to give it up in the middle sector a little bit, so we'll watch out for that. Kane, one of the full-time reserve drivers. Oh, and a big snap of oversteer there, and that's lost him control out of the final couple of corners of the sector. There we go. Arendt in the Mercedes today. We will keep an eye on how he navigates, as looks like most drivers are getting their first flying laps in the bag so far. Dog just on an outlap. Ruprecht has yet to start a flyer. Arendt going to be the next across the line here as he works through Junção, up the hill and full throttle the rest of the way, trying to gain speed and take that short line out of the DRS zone. He's actually going to swing it right. And it almost looks like drivers that are getting ready to take the pit entry, but he goes provisionally P9 on a 108.5. Invalidated lap time for Space Ghost, so we will grab Kane, who is finishing their first lap, but will be rather unrepresentative because of that spin. Now, Dog in the Haas down into Descida del Lago to head into the second sector. About half a second off of Fraser's previous best lap time with that one. So some time to find there, but still setting the first valid lap is important. Track limits easy to invalidate around here. It's a tricky one. Divar has and always has been this entire season that anybody could jump in. However, it's only been PlayStation or PC until this week, although there was several posts out to make to people running in crossplay. So up to P11 goes Dog with that one. So a good start from pretty much everybody so far. We will grab on board with Ruprath, the next Haas driver around the circuit. See how he can navigate up the hill and keeps the rear end nicely in check. Downshifting to third and short shifting up to fourth to try and get that ease of power on. You continue to work through the switchbacks, trying to open up the final hairpin corner there, and down the hill they go. You'll see where they're at second sector split compared to Fraser. They're about 2/10 off pole position, but it would put them provisionally up near the front row, maybe P3 at the moment. So in the front two rows could go ahead of Rireen and Luke, who has improved up to fourth with his lap time. Now through the final corner, across the line goes Ruprath and does indeed go third overall. So a solid lap for them. We'll grab on board with Fraser, who is winding up to start a flying lap, and we'll see how the provisional pole sitter navigates the Interlagos circuit, opening up the corner nicely, just avoiding that little touch of the grass on corner entry. Little twitch as he comes through turn 3, but now getting the power down, carrying as much speed as possible down the Redo Pasta into Descida del Lago. Turns in nicely, setting what appears to be a purple first sector that time by, so improvements are being found for Fraser this time by. Into the middle sector, just hesitating on the throttle. Just about keeping the car in bounds, as you really want to try and take as much of those white lines as you possibly can. The curb's relatively flat around here, so pretty safe mostly to use. And into Jun Sao is found 0.2 of a second on his previous best lap time. So looking to improve and extend the advantage for provisional pole. We will see where they finally end up crossing the start-finish line, and it will be a 7-4, so big improvements there. We will try and grab the next Ferrari across the line, who has found 0.2 of their own and should put them provisionally second. Next up, going to be Habs fan Nick across the line, finds 2 more tenths, goes provisionally second on this one. So times are a-dropping this time by. We will grab the other Ferrari of Samster Bamster, also known as LC Fighter, in the Ferrari, as he is in the Xbox division, sharing with the Ferrari teammate of Rireen, who's in the Ferrari and the PlayStation division. So cross-platform teammates. Cross the line only improves by about a half a tenth or so, so no new time or movement being had for them. We'll grab Dr. Zados next across the line, as it looks like Wilco and Space Ghost about to cross and set a better lap. Nope, that is going to be one of the cars into the pit lane. Zados into the pit lane. So, called it on that one. No improvements. We will see if this is indeed start coming out of the final corner, winding up for a flying lap. It is an unrepresentative time thus far. So, starting the flying lap is the Mercedes driver. Keep an eye on the timing tower if anybody is moving around, but as it stands, Fraser provisionally P1, Samster P2, Habs fan Nick third, Rireen fourth. Got a couple cars getting ready to cross the line. Looks like one of them is Divin dove into the pit lanes, and invalidated is Starks. We'll grab our end as he finishes his lap, a 108.5, so no improvement to be found there. I believe Nordy has invalidated. Let's grab Luke next, who is working their way through the middle sector. Has found a 10th through the first sector, so looking to improve up into the 7s, but not quite there just yet, and does have a slow-moving Mercedes in front. Hopefully that didn't impede too much, as they have indeed found 2/10 through the middle sector. A much better run through the middle part of the lap for Luke. It looks like he may have one of the Haas drivers just in front. We'll see if Ruprath's position changes or Dog's position. Nothing changing for the Haas. Luke, though, crosses the line, goes provisionally P2, a 107.6, so a small amount of improvement found for them there. Wilco is about a second off their previous best lap. They are on a charge lap. We will see who we can find next. I believe it'll be Dog furthest around. Ruprath has found a little bit of time in the first sector. Dog, though, big spin coming out of over the top of the hill. We will grab Mako, the PlayStation driver, who is on a flying lap for the Aston Martin this time. Working their way through the hairpins of the middle sector. And then down into the final sector. Found 2/10 of a second, so on pace to get inside the 107s if they can get a good release off of Junsao, which it looks like they have done. And now just needs to keep foot flat to the floor. Take as good of a line as you can without invalidating on the inside. Hugs the inside line, goes 107.7, puts them on provisional P4. Grab Ruprath next across the line. Has found 2/10 of his own. Should go to the 7s. Yeah, 7.49, so P3 for them. And then we'll keep an eye out. Dog has crossed the line. No improvements to be found there. Next across the line is Stark, who goes up into 14th, so has found a little bit of time. Space Ghost, the next across the line, goes to a 109.5, so a big time improvement, but no positional improvement just yet. Zados has invalidated their lap. We will see. I believe Dr. Shizu is the next across the line in the Williams this time, hugging the inside a little bit. Crossing the line is not set a valid lap time. Issei has managed to work their way in. Nicely done. And should have just about enough time to throw a setup on and get out and do one final flying lap in this one. Nordy is on an out lap. We are trying to grab Renovatio, who is finishing up a lap of their own. Improves by 7/10, so 108.5, so a solid result for them there. Elliott up into P9. I believe this is Frazier on their way around. Can they find some time in this final lap here? I don't think they'll have quite enough time to go. They might have enough time to go again. They do improve, though, 107.3, so the lap times continue to fall down. Next up is LC, who crosses the line, finds about half a tenth, still sitting on a 107.7, so still looking to improve. Space Ghost across the line, 109.2. Further improvements, but still sitting at a P17 overall. See who we can grab next. I believe it is, who is it? That is Dr. Shizu into the pit lane. So no improvements to be found there. Is that not Nordy? Nordy is on their way through Sector 2 now. Has found about half a tenth in the first sector. And we will work our way through. Finds another 10th and change in the second sector. 2/10 now, the improvement for Nordy. And is going to work their way to set an improvement. So 2/10 would put them right around Dr. Zados in P8. If they can find some time through Junsao and the last corner, they find about 3/10, and it puts them just 6 milliseconds behind Dr. Zados. A double push for Samster, and that is going to be 2/10 of an improvement. Puts them provisionally P2, just up behind Frazier now, splitting the PC division drivers. I believe that is into the pits is Space Ghost. Next up, further down the road, is Renovatio, who has lost a little bit of time, so I would estimate they will probably bail out of this lap this time by. Nordy coming through has that rear light flashing. And so I believe we just need to find this man. Issei. In the Alpha Tauri, as he is in the Xbox division, making up another of our cross-play joiners. And will actually be a decent stress test for drivers that join mid-lobby. So, decent test. We'll keep an eye as he is going to gear up for a run. It looks like he's got a McLaren of Wilco on an out lap chasing him down. So they are setting up to go for a lap. We'll jump on board with the AlphaTauri driver as he winds it up out of Junsao. And it's so important to get a good run to set up your lap. It's a short run from the start-finish line to turn 1. It goes over in quite the blink of an eye. But every little bit helps. It's worth a couple hundredths if you can get it just right. Down into the Senna S. A little snap of oversteer. Not going to be ideal. Now into the long left-hander of turn 3. Opening up the DRS into Destino del Lago. Zados out of the session, has retired via a crash. Big snap, and around goes Issei. So no valid lap set just yet. However, there will be the opportunity. We'll jump ahead to Habs fan Nick, who is gearing up. So they have not set a good lap just yet. And they're actually going to come into the pit lane. So next up, we will see who is on a flyer. I believe Ruprath is on a flyer. Has to work his way through quite a bit of traffic. Looks to have gone for that flying lap a little bit earlier than others. Has found just a little bit of time. We'll see if he's in the middle sector. No, he's lost time in the middle sector. So no improvements to be had for them. Wilco cross the line and Space Ghost crossing the line. Wilco is going to go to the 112, so no real improvement there. We will see, is this Luke coming up across the line next? And he's gone very 107.6, so he's found a little bit of time, gone to P3 is where he stays, actually, rather. I believe that was just a little bit of a bug in the timing screen, but we'll grab on board with Frazier, who is gearing up for a flying lap. Have to say, Nick has retired in the pit lane. Happy with his 7.7 this time by. But I don't want to show. Liam's not on his lap yet. He's just now working through Sector 2. I'll show Liam when Frazier finishes his lap if he's not up at or if he's still up on Sector 2. His provisional pole at the moment. Frazier working through into turn 2. Mistimed last run. I would have been happy with a 7.7. Shoot. Guess that's... Liam is Samster Bamster, a.k.a. LC Fighter, who has just started his flying lap. We will see where Frazier is when he crosses his second split. Has indeed gone up on time. Ruprath calls it in the pit lane. So it looks like Frazier in position to extend the time. Hugs the inside, and we'll get ready to grab that Ferrari. Next up goes to a 107.8, and invalid is Samster. So no valid lap time for Liam, or LC, or whatever you want to call him. So off of him we go. On to Luke, as it doesn't look like LC is going to have quite the time. May be able to go for another lap. No, checkered flag is out, so he will not. So there you go. You wanted me to watch him, and nothing would have happened anyway. Keep an eye on the timing sheets as several drivers... Oh, and into the wall is Luke. Mistake at the top of the hill, and that is the end of that qualifying session. We'll grab Mako up next, who is in the Aston Martin, the highest rated or highest placed PlayStation driver, as Rireen has yet to set a valid or a final valid lap. Mako coming out does not appear to have the pace needed to improve this time by. The rear light is flashing, so I believe they will be ducking straight into the pit lanes. Issei, though, on a invalid lap. So no lap time for Issei. If he's going to jump in and try and win this race, it's going to be a good old-fashioned last to first challenge, and that is the front wingless Red Bull of Luke. And looking up and down the timing sheets, everybody is either taking the checker or is in the pit lane. So that is the end of this qualifying session here. Frazier takes pole in the crossplay test. Xbox Division driver, Samster Bamster, aka LC, or Barry Crave, or Liam. He's got too many names, but highest rated Xbox player in this crossplay test, splitting the two PC players of Luke in third, Habsfan Nick in fourth on Xbox, MMO Ruprath fifth. Then you have the two PlayStation drivers, Mako and Rireen 6th and 7th, Elliot in 8th, Zados in 9th, and Nordy in 10th. Looks like a few cars just circulating out. Stark is outside the top 10. Dr. Shizu, Renovation, Aaron, Dog, Space Ghost, Wilco, and Kane. And then Issei did not set a valid flying lap this time. So that is your running order. Now, one of the things that we do know from the crossplay test earlier is that formation lap seems to be a troublemaker. So there is no formation lap. We're getting straight into the racing this time. Yeah, Chills, I know there's no prizes for P20, but are there prizes for P19 since he wasn't P20? Maybe some prizes for P19. No prizes. He's the only one to not set a valid lap time. Now has all kinds of work to do. And let's see how he does. So we will not cut away as we usually do. There should be some time for drivers to set up their settings and strategies in the waiting screen. But we will just, we won't cut away just because there is no formation lap, and I don't want us to be quickly to the race action without being prepared for it. So, nobody's readied up just yet, thank the maker. It does look to be relatively sunny, so I don't expect we should see any rain. And there's the 30-second timer. So hopefully people have gotten their fuel levels and tire strategies set. Medium, hard, medium are probably the orders of the day. Softs are okay around here. Pace drop-off is pretty substantial pretty quickly. And looks like Haps Van Nick is in trouble. He's going to have to Jensen button it. Here we are, the 5 red lights coming up as we wait to get away, and out they go. And I'm hitting the wrong buttons everywhere. Fraser has gotten a good launch, as has LC. Stark up 6 places, gotten a lightning start up the inside of Ruprath. Goes the Mercedes, and down the order around, it looks like is Mako. So he's got caught up in the middle of the pack. And drivers being shuffled up and down everywhere already. Seems to be people are aware of locations of everybody else. Oh, and around goes Kane. That's one AlphaTauri that's facing the wrong way. It's usually SA, but this time it is not. Kane off the circuit, rejoining relatively safely. I believe Mako carrying quite a bit of damage on the front of that car. House Van Nick shuffled down to P8. Stark has gotten by, but Nick recovering after that race start. Tire strategies, everybody on the mediums except for Elliott, Renovatio, and Space Ghost. I would expect to see Mako and maybe Kane into the pit lanes at the end of this lap. Riri now starting to look to put a move on the Red Bull of Luke ahead. Now it's all about who has the straight line speed. And looking at the deltas, it looks like Hab Van Nick and Stark are pretty similar on that straight line speed as well. Hab Van Nick in the slipstream trying to make a way past. Not enough overlap there just yet. Issei up into 11th now, side by side with Nordy as they come through the Senna S's. Nordy's going to have the inside line. Issei on the outside, leaving space for each other. He's going to dip into the slipstream. Is he going to cut it back to the inside? Ruprath and Zados swapping positions up ahead as well. And it looks like Zados is off the track. Zados is off the track. Haps Van Nick has made his way by Stark as they are side by side up the hill. And into the middle sector they go. Nick to the inside has got the wheel alongside that he needs. That's going to force Stark a little bit wide. Can Haps Van Nick sweep around the outside and hold this position? No, Stark has managed to hold off the challenge this time through. And Issei, having started 9th, is already in the points. Is up 10 spots. Haps Van Nick, oh no, is Haps Van Nick around? No, it looks like he's okay. Maybe a big glitch in timing, Issei. Fraser crosses, sets fastest lap of the race. Haps Van Nick just all of a sudden kind of teleported backwards. We'll keep an eye out on those two, but Arend and Elliott side by side into turn 1. And, well, what a pack that is built up here. Elliott making his way past Arend, and Nordy also sneaking up and following through side by side, as Issei is now up into 8th, side by side with Elliott coming up the hill. So can Issei hold up, and he's going to slot in, although they're going to be very tight coming into the next sequence of corners. That is Frazier off the track. Frazier is off the track in the middle sector and is down now into 5th place. He's recovered onto the tail end of Ruprath, but has dropped out of the lead of this race. House fan Nick and Shizu side by side, so it looks all okay. Maybe a momentary big slap of lag for Nick. Or they had a run off track. I didn't really get a good chance to see, but Habs fan Nick back up past Dog, it would appear, and is going to try and recover back towards those points paying positions. We'll grab Frazier once again as he looks to get himself back into the lead of this race. But as they are in the lead of this race, LC Fighter P1 now. Xbox division holding the race lead. Rireen on the podium in 3rd at the moment. Close up behind Luke. Looks to be a little bit of snappiness in some of the connections, but not anything unusual, I would say. Yes, knock on wood is the phrase, and I'm got essentially a fist on my desk at the moment. But you know what's getting interesting? Issei looking to continue to work his way up the grid. P8 now on the back of Elliott, and that is Mako around. So they will have another bit of bother to try and close up. And DRS is now enabled, so should be an opportunity for Issei to streak past, but a little further up the field. We'll keep an eye on Frazier, as they're going to be the first to enter that braking zone. We'll get ready to grab the battle between Elliott and Issei, and that is absolutely what I wanted to see. Thank you. Closing is Frazier. Ruprath just holds the racing line, and it looks like Issei has burned quite a lot of battery trying to catch up to this pack. So still in the slipstream of Elliott, is going to have a second dose of DRS to attack down into Desida del Lago, and it looks like a bit of a wiggly exit for Elliott. Frazier has worked is side by side with Ruprath up ahead, and Issei not able to get the job done. Neither is Frazier. So tight battles up and down on this one. It looks like Nordy now having a little bit of a look at the Alpha Tauri ahead. Issei just needs to defend the inside, not leave a door open in this middle sector. Elliott, though, 3 seconds already. Multiple track limit penalties. Luke has closed into the DRS of LC just about this time by. We will see if he can get the exit he needs out of Junsao. It doesn't look like he has quite got that done. We'll grab, though, this battle once again. The Frazier and Ruprath combination is Frazier should be about close enough to make an attacking move this time. Rear wing flips open in the slipstream as they come down the pit straight. Battery running out for Ruprath. Frazier to the inside, and that is going to should just about be the job done. However, there is this second dose of DRS that Ruprath will have, although a half-second margin likely too much to overcome. So we will grab this train. Issei, Elliott, Nordy all in a row here. And I think Issei has just burned every bit of battery he has. The overspeed he has on the straight, not really anything to write home about. And also, he is on the fresher tires. The mediums should be a little bit quicker than the hards at this stage of the race. But he's not quite making anything happen. Habs fan Nick has got to run on our end a little bit up the hill, and is not going to quite make the move stick just yet. So they will remain as they were, as Shizu's on the back of that pair. Yeah, Elliott's straight line speed is impressive. And it looks like Nick has gotten a bit of a run. He's going to go for the cut under, get the throttle down, and he's got some momentum, but there's really nowhere to go compared to our end just ahead of him. So it will be a move down into turn 1 as the attempt restarts. So House fan Nick, though, tremendous exit off of Junsao, is right up the gearbox of our end. Can he use the DRS to get through? He's actually kind of losing a little bit of time to the Mercedes ahead, even with the DRS. So Mercedes looks to be running pretty low wings as well. Stark kind of off in no man's land now in 6th. And wide goes RN, so he's kind of chase the car across the track, and it looks like Nick is going to be side by side. But around is Elliott up ahead, rejoining the track just ahead of this battle. So Elliott has had a mistake. That is going to unleash Nordy or rather Issei for the chance to move up the field. Big lockup from Hapstra Nick, it sounds like, into turn 5 or 6 rather. Well, he's just about held that position off there. Luke and Stanier, or not, I see Sam, I think Stanier, but LC up in the front, and it is starting to close up. Rireen getting involved as well. So we have Xbox, PC, PlayStation making up the top 3 spots in this race so far, and now we will see what kind of pace that Issei has, as it looks like Dog is lost a couple spots out of Junsao. That is Wilco off the track. The McLaren going rather slowly as well on the track map and is recovering. It looks like Reno and Space go side by side, fighting it out. A little bit of a stick of the nose. Dog, it appears, has no front wing and has stayed on the track. So interesting from Dog there to stay out on the circuit. Issei has eaten a little bit of time into the leaders. And that may be just a graphical glitch, because Dog doesn't seem to be having any significant negative effects, maybe, from missing that front wing. He's hanging with this group ahead of him. Fraser has disconnected from this session, so that's not ideal. And I think the AI taking over will cost him a couple of places. Dr. Zados is dropping down the order just a little bit. Yellow flags. I think Hapstra Nick is around out of high speed. Luckily, Fraser is not the lobby host, so he should be able to reconnect and get back in. And that looks like Zados has gone around as well. But we'll grab the lead battle, as it is starting to get a little bit closer now. And Dog is out. Dog has crashed. We'll see, is that going to trigger a safety car or VSC? It looks to be kind of well off the racing line. We'll see if we can grab him. He's far enough off, and he's right next to a recovery spot. So I think we should be okay, and we do appear to be continuing racing. Zados into the pit lane. I wonder if that was in anticipation of a potential safety car, but we'll grab the lead fight once again. Scratch that. We'll grab this fight here. Elliott and R-End, as looks like R-End kind of falling off the back. Hapstra Nick has gotten his own little bit of free track, and Mako off out of turn 5. So mistakes being made for the PlayStation driver, having a bit of a rough go this time around. But as far as pit stops go, Zados the only one to dive in so far. Issei up into 7th, now 1.7 seconds back of Stark. So continuing to chew in. And Zados is out of the session, as looks like he retired in the pit lane, and the car is driving its way back out onto the circuit. Luke down into 4th after losing some ground, it would appear, to Ruprath. So looks like it's just an isolated game crash for Fraser. Issei is out. Issei is out of this session. He's had a crash. Let's see if we can grab somebody coming through, and that is going to call a full safety car. And it looks like Issei has come together with somebody. Yeah, there's chunks of that car missing. I wonder if he hit the retiring car of Zados. It did appear that Zados told the car to retire in the pit lanes. It does have to kind of drive to a recovery spot. I wonder if Issei hit that car that was retiring. Shizu has picked up a drive-through for speeding under the safety car, so not respecting the delta. It looks like Rireen and LC into the pit lane for the double stack. That's going to cost, I think, Rireen just a little bit of time. Just a hesitation, not much. There's a pretty good... Yeah, I did saying in Discord that it was the the car if you're listening to the broadcast, Vados retired that car in the pit lane, and it was just doing the thing where it drives out of the pit lane and parks. So it's just kind of one of those things. Never ever trust a ghosted car unless you're sure. That's just kind of like rule number one of this game is, even if it's ghosted, it might not be. So we got 3 retirements now in this one. And our first safety car, 11 laps into this one. Wilco is out. Wilco has crashed out of the pit lane, it would appear. Do we have any visuals? Very strange. Interesting one. So Wilco has crashed. And now I think we're starting to see some weirdness. Nordy has taken over the race lead via staying out on track. Elliott, Space Ghost, Renovatio all yet to pit in this one. And then you have Samster, Rireen, Rupreth, Luke, Stark, Fraser all having taken the Yeah, it was a moment of lag. Some of my other stuff on my PC just like disconnected for a split second, so that may have just been on my end. Some of my other internet stuff, so that might have been just on my end. As I am in the lobby of broadcasting, there are a couple people that have a little bit of DC. I mean, I wonder how much of, because it seems other people are racing all right side by side. I wonder if this is an indication that, I mean, it is a test for the crossplay. I do wonder that there has been some issues with synchronization with drivers that join mid-session, like in quali or in race. I wonder if that's what happened between Issei and the cars around, or if there was just a bad connection to Elliott specifically. We'll keep an eye out on it. It is a test of the not emergency broadcast system, but just whatever this is. There have been a few odd things here and there. I think there are a few people that may be experiencing some connection related synchronization. I don't know that it's like full-on lobby desync, like the cars don't exist for the other people, but yeah, we will have to wait for the boys to feed in. We will be doing extensive off-season testing of crossplay to see what makes and breaks it, because obviously it's better for closer if it works. The divisions can be closer on pace. You don't have quite these skill gaps that you see in the smaller player pools that Xbox and PlayStation have. So you can kind of just make it all just divisions. It helps with scheduling, helps with broadcast coverage, because even if you don't have the game on PC, you would be able to cover a PC division. But the field is just about grouped up this time by. I would expect we should see the message for the safety car coming in this lap. But Nordy, so far, your biggest gainer of the day, alongside with Space Ghost. Both of those drivers up 9 positions. Looks like Fraser has had a little bit of a off-track moment. LC still right where he started, interestingly enough, and safety car is in this lap, and I think Fraser's car going off track has caused a few people to try and let cars by, and it's causing some weirdness down the order. So, we wait for the race leader to restart the race, and yeah, Absfan Nick picked up a 5-second penalty because of Space Ghost's warp movement. So there's definitely things that have not been fixed, but away they go. The race is indeed restarted. Looks to be a good jump off the line for Nordy and Samster. down into turn 1. We'll grab a hold of the Red Bull of Luke. Looks like side by side, actually, Stark and Renovatio are duking it out, and I think Stark has just got the edge there. Kane is around in turn 1 on his own, and that is going to be a position up for Stark. Nick retaking the position on Renovatio as well. Shizu carrying that drive-through penalty, so he will have to serve it relatively soon. But up at the front, Rireen now is trying to catch up to the back of Elliott. Both on the hard compound tires. Elliott on old hards, Rireen on much fresher hards, as Arendt has made their way past Renovatio as well. So, tire differential up to the inside goes Rireen, and it'll switch to the outside for this long sweeping right-hander. You get out of the camber a little bit if you're not careful, and they're going to have the outside of Junsao. Can they make the move stick? It looks like Elliott has gotten passed by Ruprath as well, and Luke. So dropping down the order is Elliott. So has had some trouble with that restart. Stark up into 7th now. Shizu into the pits to serve that drive-through. Have to be careful not to pick up a 5-second speeding penalty when you do make that. We've seen that so many times. Oh, Elliott has lost the back end around the corner, and the ghosted car luckily does not get collected. He is slow on rejoining a little bit, but looks like everybody has gotten around relatively safely. Renovatio to the inside in the Alpine, and that should be it. Looks like Elliott has managed to avoid any kind of damage with that spin around, though. So relatively harmless aside from the loss of position. But up in the front, LC still is yet to get by Nordy, who is on those aging medium tires at this stage of the race. Has got some work to do. We should see DRS becoming enabled relatively soon, and would be positioned for the Ferrari driver to retake the lead of this race. A little bit of wheel spin getting on the power out of Junsao. You could hear it as the engine kind of spiked up, but it looks to be a good run for Nordy out of that corner. And, you know, it looks like with DRS now enabled, it's going to come down to the next corner for LC to try and make that move. Habs fan Nick close to the back of Stark. It looks like Renovatio and Elliott side by side through there, and it looks like Elliott has made his way past Renovatio. To offensive goes Nordy into Descida del Lago. Can LC make it around the outside? No, not quite. We'll jump back. House fan Nick is all over the gearbox of our end, practically pushing him through turn 4 and turn 5, but the move does not quite materialize. Mako helped out quite a lot with that safety car. Has made his way past Elliott and is now closing up to the back of our end here. So after running around at the back with a couple of spins, now Mako right back into the points paying positions and in the mix for a decent result in this race. We will rejoin the battle at the front as they head out of Junsao, and for probably the first big overtaking opportunity for LC in this one. Has got the good release this time. You can see that time delta closing significantly now with the DRS open. Has to go around the outside, but he should have that move fully cleared by the time they hit the brakes into turn 1. Now just needs to try and have a good run through the Senna S's in order to not get re-overtaken down into the down the Redo Aposta into Descida del Lago. And it looks like he's just about got that one covered. We'll grab Habs fan Nick, who has DRS on Stark ahead. Stark defensive to the inside. And oh, it looks like Rireen has snuck through. LC has had a bit of a mistake. No, his car, he's disconnected. So he's had a disconnect, and that's cost him several positions. House fan Nick very close to the two Mercedes, and Arendt kind of sticking his nose up when he wasn't alongside. And now there's contact between the two, and Arendt did not have that corner. That corner belonged fully to Habs fan Nick. A very let's say, aggressive move. Definitely should have backed out of that one. He had no part of the car, or was not fully alongside, only had the front nose to stick in. And that has cost Habs fan Nick about 3 positions and the battle with Stark. Oh, let me grab this fight as our end is now involved with Mako, and Nick is right back up on the back of this pack and is going to have an opportunity to try and overtake if we can actually see the cars. Defensive to the inside is our end. Around the outside goes Mako. I think Hashvan Nick is going to have an opportunity to just kind of pick up the pieces, although Elliott now getting very much involved, as is Frazier. Kane and Dr. Shizu battling out, but this is quite the pack of cars. No real place to put it. Up the inside goes Elliott onto the grass. And now that's going to switch to the inside for Habs fan Nick. Up at the front, Luke and Ruprecht. It looks like Ruprecht has had a bit of an off-track excursion, is now going to get, well, caught up by this giant pack of cars. And Habs fan Nick does get shuffled back, unable to move forward with the cars directly ahead. And that is going to cost him some placements in this one. And looks like the Ferrari of LC is getting caught up in the fight. And around goes Habs. Stark now making his move on the AI car from LC, who will try and get into this fight. Unfortunately, I don't have LC added in this game to try and re-invite him. But yeah, Nick getting all the way down to 13th now, as his usual calm demeanor and careful driving has, like I'd done, puts you in compromised positions against more aggressive drivers who can, whether they legally are in that position or not, will kind of bunt you out of the way. But now Rireen has taken the lead of this race, so while LC has had that disconnect, it is still another Ferrari at the front of this one, and looks like Nordy is going to fall just out of DRS of Rireen, and that is going to give Luke the opportunity in the Red Bull to try and make something happen down the front straight. Rear wing flips open. Nordy still out on track on those medium tires. And down into turn 4 they go, and it looks like Luke is going to have the legs to get by. And a big snap of oversteer for Nordy, and that looks like him into the barriers. Has that been wing damage for the Alpine? He's just got to sit here for a while now, as there are just continually cars coming through. He's going to pull straight across the track, get to the outside now as more cars come through. Good to not rejoin at this one. And away he gets back underway. There we go. So up to the other Alpine Renovatio in P8. And he's got Frazier on the gearbox in 9th. Shizu picks up 3-second time penalty for those track limits warnings. Can Frazier make any kind of move on Renovatio? Renovatio into the pit lane off of those hard compound tires. Had yet to make a pit stop. Now Nordy on those mediums I would expect has stayed out. I did not expect him to stay out. Renovatio in the pits. Mako has retired in the pit lane from this session. So we'll jump back with the AI of LC, who's now down behind our end here. Elliott closing up to the back of this battle. We will grab the just penalized driver, Dr. Shizu, who's got Habs fan Nick on his gearbox now. Maybe an opportunity for a move materializing. Nordy staying out on those old tires, though. That's holding up the real ultimate pace of what Shizu can do on those hard tires, as mediums are just about into puncture territory, I would say, at this point. Wide is Shizu, though, on the exit of Junsao. That is going to be a run for Habs fan Nick, now trying to make that move down into turn 1. And it looks like Elliott has snuck by LC's stricken AI car, and Shizu smoothly through, and that is going to hold Habs fan Nick up behind Nordy this time. who still stays out on those medium tires. There has been a few laps under the safety car, but those medium tires cannot be in good shape at all at this stage. That's why Nick just doesn't quite have the drive or straight line speed to make the move stick into turn 4, and it's definitely costing some time in the apexes of these corners. But out front, relatively evenly spaced, 1.6 to Luke between Riri. Ruprath 3 seconds back. Stark up into 4th with our end in 5th. Elliott 6th. Samster 7th. Fraser in 8th. Shizu and Nordy rounding out the top 10, although Habs fan Nick very much involved in this one. Lap 22 of this 36 lap race. So we're getting down towards the dying stages of it. And looks like Nordy is just about going to hang on to the DRS range from Shizu, but we will see if that rear wing flips open. Habs fan Nick all up inside the back end of that Alpine, and it looks like they did indeed get that that one done. Friend request from LC. Let me see, as that fight continues, if I can quickly get him back in. Let me just make sure that this is a little bit of wiggliness going on. I don't have... There we go. Accept. Great. I don't think it'll let me re-invite him unless I leave the lobby, though. Ooh, Habs fan Nick has picked up a 5-second penalty corner cutting while I was doing that. I thought things would be nice and smooth, but apparently has gone off track to take that position. So, not ideal. Although Nordy was very much an unpredictable car on those old tires. And surely Nordy comes into the pit lane now, right? Surely. Nope, Nordy has indeed stayed out. I'm going to try and see just real quick if LC is showing on the friends list. I don't see... There we go. I've sent an invite. Let's see if that'll get him back in. See if that works. But out of the front, Riri running a rather comfortable race up in P1. 4.3 seconds now, the margin, as Luke has slipped behind Ruprath. Fraser, though, still working his way through the field, now catching up to the back end of Elliott. And we will keep an eye out for the fight between Shizu and Habs fan Nick. So no positions gained or lost for either of those two battles, settling in, although it seems like a decent run off the corner for Fraser, catching up to Elliott, has the DRS, trying to close up, and Elliott looks to be using quite a bit of battery. Renovatio has made a move on Space Ghost there in turn 1. Kane has also lost that place out, and it is getting very spicy up and down the field in a few of these different spots. We'll keep an eye on the battle with Fraser, the battle with Nick, and this one here as well, as we work through into the mid to late portion of this race. But up at the front, relatively comfortable. Our end is starting to sneak into the margins, although no, that is our end off the track. He was just about getting into the DRS range of Stark, but off the track has gone the Mercedes and now slots in to 7th behind Elliott and Fraser. We'll stay with Fraser on this one, as he's got a very good run, using the slipstream, using that overtake button. Around the outside goes Fraser. Are they going to get the move done? This is a great camera. Looks like he's touched the grass, though, and that's caused a tiny bit of a lockup into the corner, and that is so the most unhelpful camera angle I could have possibly had for that overtake. Now, we have Habs fan Nick trying to close up to Shizu there. We'll grab this battle as they're both running low on battery. That flashing rear red light. And is all looking at the rear wing of a Williams once again. So it's got some work to do, although it looks like Shizu has now closed up to the back of the stricken LC. And it looks like now our end starting to get up involved with Elliott, who is going to lose the DRS from Frazier ahead. So we will stay on board, see if they can get that move done this time by. And they will hold station there. No move to be done. The AI is fighting back on this one. Around the outside goes Shizu, and that is going to give him a little bit of breathing space to Habs fan Nick behind. But we'll catch back up with this fight. A little look to the inside from our end. Does not go for the move just yet there. So he's hesitated out of that one. And now Habs fan Nick has to clear the AI car before he's got a chance to do that. I'm going to try. It looks like LC did not get the invite, so I'm going to try one more time. There we go. All right. And it looks like Habs has indeed cleared the Ferrari, who's fallen from the lead of the race down into 10th. Rearing up, though, carrying the console torch so far in this race. Up in P1. Is Frazier now into the top 5. A big snap of oversteer from Elliott out of Junsao, and that is going to give our end a tremendous run down here. Now, the question is, who got the DRS in? It was our end, and into the pit lane goes Elliott. So he's making his pit stop. Nordy finally made their pit stop a couple of laps ago, but went on to the soft compound tires. I believe that we should be able to see Elliott go on to the softs to get to the end of this race. About 10 laps is plenty of life, and indeed he does. So, bunch of hard tires, some a medium on the set of the Renovatio, and softs for Elliott and Nordy. House fan Nick carrying 2-time penalties in this one, so is going to likely drop back, but still has some on-track action to fight. There we go. LC Fighter, a.k.a. Samster Bamster, back in. And it looks like he is going to come back into his car in 9th place, just behind Xbox rival Habs fan Nick, who they are both vying for their first Xbox Division 1 title, along with Lawrence Boers up in the front there, and Queasy Pluto, 4 Xbox drivers separated by only 6 points in the Drivers' Championship in Xbox. Tune into that tomorrow. Does run the same time as PC Division 1. However, PC Division 1 has already decided their champion with Frazier, who's running 5th in this race. But Habs fan Nick now looking to the outside of Shizu into the Senna S's. Can he stay enough alongside? He's got to back out just a little bit as he lost a little bit of that overlap, and looks like LC's car is into the pit lane. We'll see what tires it gives him onto the softs. Space Ghost into the pit lane, but speeding in the pit lane penalty. So that is going to cost him a little bit of time. And now, 29 laps into this 36-lap race, there's at least a few laps for LC to try and make some kind of impression on the cars around. He does have those fresh, soft tires, so I would be shocked if we don't see fastest lap of the race popping up for LC Fighter in this one, a.k.a. Samster Bamster. But Rereen out in front, Ruprath 2nd, Luke 3rd, Stark 4th, Frazier 5th, Arend into 6th, Shizu 7th, and Habs fan Nick challenging in 8th. Renovatio is in 9th, with Elliott rounding out the points paying positions. And after a couple of spins for Elliott, to still be in the points is a solid result. Shows his natural pace. But it looks like House fan Nick just doesn't quite have the speed advantage in a straight line that he needs in order to make an overtake happen. And it's definitely going to be a tough one for the Alfa Romeo driver to get by, although it looks like he's gotten a pretty good run with the slipstream, DRS open, but it's only a couple of hundredths. It's barely even a 10th made up down the second DRS straight, and a little bit of contact between the two as it looks like Shizu parked it on the apex just a little bit, and that has caught Nick out just a tiny bit. But Nordy catching up to the back of Kane, He's on those soft tires, and I doubt it will be a difficult maneuver for the Alpine driver. Comes back to the racing line nice and comfortably ahead of the AlphaTauri, who runs a little bit wide. And that is going to give LC the chance to start to close up to this pack. It's 5 seconds out. No contact. It looks like there's been a crash between the two. It looks like Kane just did not get slowed down for the corner. And around goes Nordy. That looks like they got hit in the back. And this time, though, it looks like, nope, Kane has had a spin and is off the track. So, yeah, that broken front wing would indicate that that he has just run straight into the back of Nordy. There is a braking zone there, and I wonder if he just got caught napping a little bit into a high-speed section of the track with the car slowing down right ahead of him. So, damage to Kane, and Nordy facing the wrong way, unfortunately. Habs fan Nick still caught up behind Dr. Shizu. Only 5 laps left to go in this race. And LC's got to find about 8 seconds to Elliott to try and catch up 2 points, although Elliott is carrying 11 seconds of penalties, so technically he's already got points. Which, considering the amount of the race he was disconnected for. And oh, that is a stationary car, and I believe that is Ruprecht who has spun. Ruprecht has spun through Junsao and is off the circuit. It's only going to lose him positioning to Luke, but from a P2 down to P3 now, and that is a hefty mistake for the Haas driver. Was driving in clean air, unpressured, and now Ririn's got even more of a comfort buffer. 9 seconds the margin to the lead. Now Shizu is caught up to the back of our end now, so Habsjan Nick's overtaking attempts and trying to chase that pack down is going to be even tougher as they're stuck in the train and unable to really make the move on the car ahead that didn't have DRS. So it looks like Dr. Shizu's got the straight line speed that he needs in this race. Definitely kind of a good spot to test it. And there is the unsurprising fastest lap from LC Fighter as he sets off after getting those new tires on. A 109.2 is the fastest lap of the race for the Ferrari driver. This is the closest battle on track. RN, Dr. Shizu, Habsfan Nick all tight up against each other, and Habsfan Nick getting very confident and close to the diffuser of the Williams ahead. And I think Nick's got the pace that he needs in the middle sector, but he just doesn't have the straight line advantage. Defensive has to go our end. It's going to compromise his exit out of Junsao, and now there are 3 cars basically touching nose to tail. And here comes the DRS flipping open the rear wing. Nick, though, has some overspeed. It looks like going to try and go around the outside of Shizu, who did not get anywhere close enough alongside to attack our end in that one. And it looks like a little bit of contact between Nick and Shizu coming through turn 2, and Nick had to take a little bit to the runoff. That's compromised some speed from him. Yellow flags in the middle sector. I believe that is Space Ghost, who is around as he's a few corners ahead of Luke, although that may have been just him moving out of the way, as that was right around the time. Yep, that is the time that the leaders are coming through the pack. So it does look like he is doing so via the blue flag route, and now we do have Stark and Frazier catching up. Frazier now into the 1 second margin behind Stark. Though Stark, we know, carries very, very low downforce in this season, so we'll see what kind of straight line speed they can maneuver. It looks like Shizu once again has gotten a run around the outside of our end. And through Junsao, they go to snap of oversteer from our end, so that is going to drop him behind Shizu and Habsfan Nick. However, that's going to put Shizu at risk as he does not have DRS. Space Ghost has retired in the pit lane. Arend has had a mistake in addition to that snap, trying to get on the throttle. And Habsfan Nick in his best overtaking chance that he's had of the day, and is just going to get cut off. No space left from Shizu on that one. And that is unfortunate as Habsfan Nick once again tries to put a wheel alongside and is going to get shuffled straight down the order once more as he was not left space on the apex of turn 2. So we'll jump ahead as now the closest battle on track is going to be between our end and Habsfan Nick, and also looks like Stark and Frazier. Frazier closing up once more with that I would assume much higher downforce. It's going to make the job very tough on Stark. It looks like, though, big wheel spin for Frazier out of that one. And just look at how much Stark accelerates away. Shizu is off the track. Shizu's had a spin, and that has promoted Habs fan Nick back up into 7th. So if he can get by our end, he'll be essentially back where he was with the issue that he had with Dr. Shizu. But we'll keep an eye out, as it looks like Habs fan Nick gearing up for a move on the Mercedes. In the slipstream with the DRS open, he's going to switch it to the outside. He can go quite deep on the outside there. Pulls to the inside. Space is left this time for him. He's going to leave space on the apex of 3. And it looks like he might have actually just been nose ahead. He was nose ahead of our end that time with the DRS going to the Mercedes. So move not quite done. And we are taking a look at the timing sheets as Frazier now really, really up on the gearbox of Stark. Around the outside goes Habs fan Nick, trying to make the move work in the middle sector. A little wiggle from our end there. That's going to cost him a little bit of speed. Yellow flags. It looks like that might be a mistake from Frazier there, as he went from about 2/10 behind Stark to 7/10. So he's lost about 3/10 there in that one little section. Don't know if he was slow enough to justify a yellow flag, but now Habs fan Nick really pushing through Jun Sao this time, and I don't think Frazier's going to be in a position to attack Stark on the final lap here. Rireen leads this race by quite a margin, 7 seconds. Luke did start to eat into the gap a little bit, but now it's going to be our end trying to chase down Habs fan Nick. Ruprath is out. Ruprath has crashed on the final lap, and that will be essentially no points for him running third. Stark is going to sneak his way, I believe, into a podium position, as he's got Frazier all over the gearbox of him. All he's got to do is place his car correctly in just the right spots, not give Frazier any kind of door or opportunity. Looks a little deep, does Stark through turn 5. Up the hill, and I think Stark may just about have it covered. But we will grab the race leader, and we'll jump back as Rireen wins this first crossplay test for PlayStation. Comes home. P1 does the Ferrari. Now Frazier looking to the inside of Stark. Stark just kind of parking it a little bit on the apex. Another big snap of wheel spin from Frazier, and I think that'll just about do it. Luke is across the line in second. Stark will come across the line in third, but he's carrying 3 seconds of time penalties, so it will not be a podium for Stark. Frazier crosses the line, takes home that third place. Habs fan Nick did open the gap to our end in Renovatio, but carrying that 10 seconds worth of time penalties, crosses the line in 5th. But that is going to get shuffled down to 7th as Renovatio and our end cross the line. Should be ahead of Elliott, who is carrying some time penalties here. It looks like Elliott just kind of letting the car drift across the track and across the line. Shizu comes home 8th, Elliott 9th. Nordy will take home the last points paying position in that one. Renovatio picks up the game's driver of the day. Rireen drove a fantastic race out in P1. And Stark nearly taking home a podium in that one. Just that 3-second track limits penalty doing him in. But an interesting test. Definitely not perfect for crossplay. Still some issues to sort through, it would appear. But we do have an entire off season, and the game has been out since July. So what is that? July, August, September, and we're now into October. He has been out about 4 months and has had 12 updates so far. So we may see some, as we do have essentially the rest of November, and or rather the rest of October, November, and December and January, in order to see if there are some updates that fix up crossplay before Season 7 gets underway. But thank you for kicking off this race weekend. Rireen P1, Luke 2nd, Frazier 3rd, Stark 4th, RN 5th, Renovatio 6th, Habs fan Nick 7th, Nordy 8th, Shizu 9th, Elliott 10th, Ruprath, Samster, and then Kane. Space Ghost in 14th. Mako, Wilco, Issei, Zados, and Dog, your retirements from that one. But I will catch you guys next time. Thank you so much once again for joining me to kick off this final race weekend of FRS Season 6. Championship fight tomorrow in Xbox Division 1, 7 p.m. UTC, right on FRS Community. 4 drivers, 6 points the gap. Should be a very interesting one, and that does follow up with PC Division 4, which is wrapped up. We do, though, have another championship battle on Sunday. PC Division 3 still has it to be decided. PlayStation Division 1 still technically out there, but it would require something interesting, and considering Rireen just won this practice race, I think, yep. They are in a good shape, let's say. But y'all have a great day. I will see you guys tomorrow for PC Division 4 personally. Otherwise, check out the channels. Make sure to tune in for the racing. It's the last race weekend of the season. So y'all have a great one. Peace out.